Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. It's South Park's Mega Worldwide, and I'm sorry to say this is the end. That's right, the day we never thought would come. It's a torturous story. We all have to jump into it. Everything good eventually gets sort of abrasive after a while if you don't change your technique. And so, clearly, as the great demise of the Biden White House, sadly, at just 2 years old, struck down in its prime. The very end of all things. Biden's it was nice while we had it. The CHIPS Act, we'll never forget that. The infrastructure bill, I know what you're thinking. He's still got 2 years to serve, but no, it's the end. It's the end, my friends, and I'm sorry. We're going to have to face it sooner or later. We're going to have to rip, just like Portland. We must say goodbye to the Biden presidency, which is just a shell of its former self, a crater, if you will. It has nothing left. It's just, I guess, it's going to while away its days, hiding out in an old Florida mansion, enjoying the musty smell and the sea brine, watching the wallpaper start to flake because of the humidity, and praying an alligator that's just a bump in the grass and not something that's going to snap at you. And how do I know this? How do I know that the Biden document story isn't the giant story that it is the giant story, that it's not just some random bump in the road story like you have in any presidency that gets handled, and of course in the whataboutism of the world, pairing it right next to Trump actually makes him look worse as time goes on. How do I know that this is it? There's no further to go. We've got nothing. We're never going to get there. How do I know? I'll tell you how I know, god damn it. Because of this man, Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly tells me Joe's time has come. Joe's time has come. Sorry, it's a little early for a Iron Maiden reference in the show. He's finished. He's done. Well, he's certainly done a lot of bill signing. You know what? Joe, take a month. You've earned it. Luckily, you actually do have something close to the best people, hashtag the best people, running actual things. So you probably could coast for a month and enjoy the view of people like Greg Kelly. But now, Greg, who's been, he's had a tough go of it lately. He's been like, Don Jr.'s had a huff go of it lately. That's different. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But Greg Kelly has, it's been, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a tough week to be, month, year even, to be Greg Kelly. I mean, what was he going to be clamoring on about? Gas stoves? I mean, how many times can you do a story about how Trump said the Afghanistan exit was the most embarrassing thing that America's ever done? Besides, I would add, staying in Afghanistan for 21 years. But that's another thing. Let's if anyone is going to put a pin in this and let us know it's over. Look, they sprung on a graphic with the Biden Center, the House, he's finished, top secret documents, which I think is a picture of stuff from Trump's, from Mar-a-Lago, and Biden actually driving a car, which again is not, I think it's kind of backhanded because it reminds people that Trump can't actually drive. And golf carts don't count. They do when you're my 11-year-old son. They definitely count when you're an 11-year-old. 11 to 13, really, if you can manage a golf cart with that level of maturity and brain growth, it's impressive. And keep it top side up, you're good. But, as a septuagenarian, we expect more. I expect my septuagenarians to be able to know how to operate a clutch, god damn it. So anyways, let's jump right in. We're going to deal with the documents case. I've been trying to wait till more details come out so we can really see the boil on it, because it's going to be gone in a couple of weeks. But they'll have a commission and blah blah blah, but it'll retread the same shit, Benghazi style, for months, while totally ignoring Trump fighting having the docs that he had. Joe's time has come. Okay, everyone, drape yourself in black. Get ready for the demise. Here it comes from Greg Kelly. And expect a lot of tongue jutting and looking side to side.
He's done. It is over for Joe Biden. Absolutely.
That's right.
This is fatal.
Yeah, that's it. There's no way he should just quit and tell Trump he can just throw the reins to him.
Documents all over town, carelessly, recklessly. Now, am I getting
as opposed to what? Carefully organized so you can sell them?
ahead of myself?
Yeah, I think you are. And first tongue jut, ladies and gentlemen, where he rolls. I mean, that's a big one. That's almost the entire ham right there.
No, I am so confident.
Are you? I can tell. You look like a confident man. You don't look at all like a man who's puffy from alcohol. You don't look that way. I thought it because is it me, guys? Because we see a lot of Greg. No?
I know he won't be the nominee.
Yeah, you do? Boy, is he going to be disappointed.
I don't think he's going to finish one term in office.
You could actually stop at you don't think, and we'll pick it up from there.
Here's the deal. What happened?
Okay, here's the deal.
Yesterday. Here's the deal.
He caught himself.
He lost his moral authority. Now, moral authority. How could a guy like Joe Biden have moral authority?
Well, apparently he had it and he lost it somehow. I mean, it happens when you're old. You walk into the room and you're like, honey, where's my moral authority? And you're looking all over and she walks in and goes, it's right here. And you're like, oh, God. My senior moment.
Believe it or not.
Yes, I believe it. Or not. I don't know. I haven't really made up my mind.
That's how he became president.
Thank you, TOH Show Live, for the subs. Bless you.
President, right? I mean, he was the truth teller compared to Donald Trump and his lies.
Right, and that's why this whole thing still fits in with that. That's it. All right, but go on.
And the media reinforced that day in, day out, right? How many lies did Trump tell? Oh,
right, but I mean, you're going to start believing him now?
Over and over and over again. Oh, by the way, those lists that document all the lies, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Those lists are lies.
Oh, okay. Well, then how do I even keep track? The lies are lies. If everything you say is a lie, then the truth is like bzz, bzz. I need you to understand that everything I say is a lie. But if what you said was a lie, then that was a lie. And
I'm going to debunk.
Don't you understand? It's Voyager, my God spawn.
One of those lists in just a moment, but...
Great, yeah. Go back and forth. Vacillate between Trump lies and the Biden statements and just mix them up.
First, do you remember? This was his justification. Joe Biden looked everybody in the eye and said he was a man of integrity.
You know who I am. You know who he is. You know his character. You know my character. Mm-hmm. You know our reputations for honor and telling the truth. Mm-hmm. I am anxious to have this race. I am anxious to see this take place. I am the character.
You're not wrong. This is not going to pay off the way Greg thinks it pays off. Because again, in shutting down the Penn office, they found some stuff in a locked closet. They saw them. They returned them immediately to NARA. They said, we should look in case there's any of the other stuff. So go through any boxes from his time as vice president. Make sure there's nothing in there. They found a few more things. They returned them immediately. It's literally in the no harm, no foul. That's what actually Trump claimed he was allowed to do before he claimed he could magically declassify everything. And then Trump, of course, fought the whole thing for a year, lied about what he had, got a subpoena, didn't act on it. And then during the time he had the subpoena, when they saw the security footage, he had people taking boxes out of the room that was supposed to have a padlock on it. Fuck off.
Of the country is on the ballot. Our character is on the ballot. Look at us closely.
I actually was looking at him closely for decades. I remember.
Right. Yes, it was weird. I remember you, like, anytime we were in a restaurant, Greg, I trying to have a conversation with you, and Joe Biden is like even a picture. He's on the television. You're like, and I'm like, Thirst Squad, Pay attention.
As a college freshman when he got caught running for president and all those lies. I had this guy's number, but a lot of people didn't. They forgot.
Greg, between that happening and now, you have been accused of sexual assault and your dad got the charges knocked up. Like, focus.
They didn't know in the first place. The media covered for him. And now.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. He was caught lying and he had to leave the race. That whole scandal is why Dukakis was the guy who ran. The fuck? What?
Now we all know those people who said that this guy was the alternative, the integrity. So we know what happened down there in Mar-a-Lago, right? The FBI raided the compound, totally unjustified. President.
They did not raid it. They didn't raid it. They knocked, served a warrant, did a search. It's not a raid. Again, they didn't come in through the fucking skylights. Jesus Christ. It wasn't the end of Dumb and Dumber. This might be, but we'll see.
Trump, remember, had declassification authority.
No, he didn't. Because he gave back documents in sealed red envelopes with full knowledge that they were not declassified. In between. So if he magically declassified all that shit, why the fuck did he ever need to handle it as classified intel? If he declassifies it, it's public record, you dumb son of a bitch. They handed back literally a tape-wrapped red envelope, sealed so the fucker floats if it gets tossed overboard so it can be recovered. He had awareness that it wasn't declassified. He knew it wasn't declassified. That's why when they returned some of the shit, they returned it, by the way, dragging ass for months and months. But when they finally got around to it, after they got some new toner for the Xerox, I guess, when they finally returned the originals, God knows what fucking copies he made. When he turned the originals, he returned them in a red classified envelope, wrapped with plastic. Dum-dum.
He arrived at Mar-a-Lago on January 20th, 2021. He was still the president of the United States, had access and authority over all of those documents. But what did Joe Biden do in that moment? Look at the indignation, the self-righteousness, remember.
When you saw the photograph of the top secret documents laid out on the floor at Mar-a-Lago, what did you think to yourself, looking at that image?
How that could possibly happen, how anyone could be that irresponsible. And I thought, what data was in there that may compromise sources and methods? By that I mean names of people who helped, or et cetera. And it's just totally irresponsible.
Hey, nobody's perfect, right?
Yeah, hey, nobody's perfect, right? It was a mess. You know, yeah, sure. There were ketchup thumbprints on fucking everything. But look, I guess you never make a mistake, Mr. Perfect.
And people are human beings, and
Most people are human beings. Not all human beings are people. We'll figure that out.
people tell lies from time to time.
Yeah, and I don't know why you're looking at the fucking ceiling all of a sudden, Greg. People, some people lie, and it happens. Nobody's perfect. And some lies need to be handled by your dad.
It happens.
It does. It does actually happen. It's been known to happen.
I think actually a lie from time to time could be forgivable.
Is that the name of your second book?
But the hypocrisy.
Oh, the hypocrisy. Oh, it's just hypocrisy. Yeah, where Biden says that, and then he finds these documents, and then he spends a year fighting with NARA, and then decides I could all of a sudden, I'm president. I'm going to declassify them right now. I'm not returning them. What'd you find? That's declassified. I'm president right now. I don't even have to do it at the last fucking second. They're declassified anyways. I don't know. Blink, blink. And then, of course, when he got the subpoena from NARA, and he's like fucking hanging out in the White House going, fuck you.
And it's so clear cut. And it's
so clear cut. He's currently president.
so easy to understand.
Is it? Because I'm finding your argument confusing.
And it's so in your face. This hypocrisy will never be forgotten, and it will never be forgiven.
Joe Biden, you have broken Greg Kelly's heart. Most people couldn't find it. And then other people, it looks like a bit like a kidney stone. But you, sir, have found some way to crack open the grinchy little kidney stone heart of Greg Kelly. And you have damaged it irreparably, sir. It shall never beat freely again. It will ever be tarnished with your lies. Your lies.
Classified material next to your Corvette? What were you thinking?
Let me, I'm going to get a chance to speak on all this, God willing, soon. But as I said earlier this week, people, and by the way, my Corvette's in a locked garage, okay? So it's not like you're sitting out in the street.
So
but anyway,
was in a locked garage.
Yes, as well as my Corvette.
Yeah, he's being cute. So is Ducey. I mean, the worst thing about all this is look at Greg. That little boy's hopes are broken.
How could that possibly happen, to quote Joe Biden? Documents next to that silly, stupid car.
That silly, stupid American car. Fuck you, classic car lovers. That silly, stupid car. What? Honest to God, can we just there's no fucking way I'd go back and watch like hours of Greg Kelly, this performance art he calls his Newsmax show, but there's no fucking way he doesn't have some sort of show about like macho cars and how new modern electric cars are like girly, green, gay vehicles. The fuck are you talking about? That thing's awesome. It's like a convertible version of John Wick's car. Jesus Christ.
That he was showing off all the time.
Showing off his driving stick shift skills like a bastard. Showing it off.
I always knew he'd be revealed.
Did you? Finally, this is the day.
Always knew it.
Oh, yeah?
And oh, by the way, even this silly stunt for the cameras, I don't know if it was Jay Leno's garage or what, we got to look at where those documents might have been found. Like everybody else's garage, it's a...
Yes, that is, or it could be Christmas decorations. We don't know. Could be shoeboxes. I'm guessing those are Dr. Jill Biden. That's a lampshade. I'm pretty sure that's a lampshade in the back. That's half a cardboard box I can see there. I think is that they think this right there is the top of one of those business file boxes and other stuff is in front of it. Yes? Is that our theory?
A crummy, kind of messy place, right?
Crummy. These poor, they weren't in a fancy place like Mar-a-Lago with painted cherubs on the ceiling, like a classy joint where Melania Trump can fart omelets through a fancy French knuckled chair. They didn't get to be in a nice place. Mar-a-Lago's fancy. They were in a shitty garage. It was ugly. It's one thing, sure, Trump left his documents out all over the fucking place, but have you seen that desk? It's gorgeous. Oh, God. Joe Biden, those documents were in a box in a garage. You don't think spies would go, there's the lampshade. They're definitely near the lampshade.
And secret documents in the midst? That's unforgivable. Hey,
Is it? Yeah, it's totally unforgivable. Especially the part where they were like, you know what, check those boxes. Make sure there's nothing in there that's still left over from that stuff. It might have gotten packed away with other things. And then they find them, they're like, yep, let's send them into the Nara, right? Immediately, within 4 hours.
the documents in Mar-a-Lago, they were being maintained according to National Archive and FBI specifications. They were.
The fuck they were, dummy. They told him to put a padlock on the door because there wasn't one for a fucking year and a half. His garage was locked. That storage room at Mar-a-Lago was not. Where was Anna de Rothschild's during the time when it would have taken a credit card or a bobby pin to get into that storage locker? Secondly, when they put the padlock on, who the fuck says they ever locked it? We had a padlock on it. Yeah, but you didn't shut it. But it's there. Right. And then the National Archives gets footage of the cameras that look at where the storage closet, where it was. And turns out that after they served the subpoena and said put a lock on that fucking door, people were going into that room and walking out with boxes and taking them to Trump's office. That's why there was a fucking search and seizure warrant, not a raid.
We're in communication about it. The FBI visited and said, hey, we want one more lock. They put another lock on.
They put a padlock on and never latched it. Feel free to at me.
And then there was this.
Uh-oh.
People know I take classified documents and classified material seriously.
Here he is again.
This fucker. God damn it. He's saying it, and then he, just because they find that stuff and then they turn it over immediately. What's the difference? 4 hours, a year and a half, with a subpoena, without a subpoena, telling Nara that you've already given it to him, then finding out it's still there. What's the difference? It's all hypocrisy. Are there any dreams left?
Banking on your naive assumption that
Yeah, you can take that to the bank.
he's a good guy, that he has integrity because he's Scranton Joe, because he's been around for a long time. We've got his number. I've always had it. You've always had it. But
why didn't you call him and tell him there was shit in his garage then if you had his number?
now, even Democrats are realizing this is too much. Why are we defending this guy? He's finished. And then, not only in the garage was there a secret document, but also in his parlor, his pantry. What was it?
They discovered a small number of documents of classified markings in storage areas and file cabinets in my home and my personal library.
His personal library, garage, office downtown. Where else?
Probably, you know what? I don't know. Has anybody checked Ivana Trump's grave? I've just heard buzz that there were very possibly classified documents. Or it might have been some of them. It might be different ones. You know what? Never mind. It's probably somebody else's.
Where else? What else did he do with these things?
By the way, one of the problems that they're having with this whole bullshit is that, you know how Biden was supposed to have gotten $1 billion out of China? And we'll get to some of that shit in a minute, right? Every time they go, all right, where is he at? Where are his properties? Well, there's the house and there was the old office. That's it. That's it. I'm just saying, who the fuck gets $1 billion out of any country and at whatever, 72, let's say at the time, goes, you know what? Sock it away in an account. I'll spend it in a decade.
What was he doing with these things? And he's being very, very guarded in his speech, reading from a script. But there are tells.
Yep, here it is. Watch for him. I don't know what they are, but Greg will tell. His dad was a cop, hence the brushing away of sexual assault charges. But, I guess I've heard it's good for that, apparently. I don't have any LE that close in my family. I've got a cousin and an uncle, but Let's see what the tells are. He wrote a book on it. No, I'm not wrote a book. He read a book. He saw a book. The book, it was a pickup artist book.
They've been bragging that they told the authorities right away. As soon as they found these documents, they called the cops or they called the National Archives. They told
Everybody. They dialed 911 immediately.
Everybody. Watch when he says that again. Watch what happens when you're lying.
When you're lying, you tend to look at the ceiling. Let's see if the tell that he spots that he thinks Joe Biden is using is one of his. What do you think?
Lying, sometimes you're nervous and sometimes you stutter. I think that's
He's got a stutter. What the fuck?
the real story behind Joe Biden's stutter. Take a
Yes. The problem is he's had a lifelong stutter because he's just a lifelong liar. And it's just words are hard.
look.
Department of Justice was immediately, as was done, the Department of Justice was immediately notified.
It's a little trouble with that one, huh? Immediately.
Contacted versus notified. Notified is different than contacted. You can call and hang up. These are legal variations of the phrase or specific. Notified is the actual thing you want to say. So fucking what? By the way, two gentlemen, can I just say they're both looking down right now? Greg, how do I know that you're not just doing what you're looking down at your notes? Or are you?
Notified. These things were hanging around as long as 5 years potentially. Actually, 6 years. 6 years.
And they were exactly where they left them. Weird. They didn't move around. They were in that locked closet. No, by the way, the closet at Penn, that office was opened in 2018.
And I noticed this on Tuesday when he was in Mexico.
By the way, he still has his, even from his presidency, still had his classified clearance.
What's up with all the lawyers? What's up with all the lawyers, huh?
Yeah, what? Why would you want people doing lawyery stuff? I mean, what's up with all of Trump's lawyers that look like they're at a casting for a porn version of Law and Order? I think is a better question.
Cleaning out an office?
When my lawyers were clearing out my office at the University of Pennsylvania, they set up an office for me, secure office in the Capitol.
Lawyers. Why would lawyers be emptying out Joe Biden's office? Lawyers. What about your secretary? What about one of your grandkids? What about you, actually?
Yeah, he's not busy. He's just the president of the fucking United States. And who the fuck sends their grandkids? Are you out of your fucking mind? This seriousness at the level of... well, again, this asshole loves Trump. And Trump, treats his business and the presidency. He treated both just like jars of candy. You could just kind of reach in with whatever fucking hand.
Actually. No. And in Washington, D.C., he chose lawyers, plural, to do it. How much do they make? Something like $1,000.
The top hourly rate. I mean, they might have given him, it's lawyers that move. It's a moving company that are all legal. It's because it's the same companies do document securing and shredding and that kind of stuff of all kinds, whatever.
$1,000 an hour. Joe Biden could be in more trouble than we even know about.
Ew. Look at the slathery tongue jutting. This motherfucker has no idea. This is the graphic. This is a story about the president of the United States finding classified documents in a former office, sending them to NARA and doing a sweep of his house to make sure there wasn't other shit in there. Like, hey, you guys go through all that stuff. Don't worry about it. And if you find anything that shouldn't be there, contact NARA and give it right back to him because this is important. And he's got a lawyer and security to do it and blah blah blah. This is a story about at that level, right? On a national level, that's pretty big shit. It's made it across all the top news stories. It's blurbed its way, into every news hour on cable at least 5 times in the last 3 days, sometimes in the same hour. And this is the quality of gotcha that this motherfucker has come up with, which is, do you know how much lawyers cost? Obviously, I mean, these lawyers get paid in yuan, I guess. And then the tongue jutting, which is a tell, ladies and gentlemen, that this asshole does when he knows he's talking out of his ass. Now, in all fairness, sometimes Greg Kelly doesn't know he's talking out of his ass because he's kind of a true believer and he's also stupid. So that, half the time he's telling the same bullshit. He's just not aware of his ignorance. He just thinks he's got it. There are times, though, when he absolutely has no idea what the fuck he's talking about, and he knows he has no idea what he's talking about, and that's what happens. It happens all the fucking time. And the other thing is like he's looking for a pencil that he wants to eat. That whole thing, like that business. We spotted that early on. It's fucking gross. It's so gross.
And I want to emphasize this. A lot of folks think that when you're an ex-vice president of the United States, you get all kinds of perks and privileges. Not really.
No, not at all. You get to stand in the back with Mike Pence. Fuck that guy. I mean, he did write a best-selling book.
On January 20th, 2017, you got incoming President Trump, outgoing President Obama. Both of those gentlemen will receive Secret Service protection for the rest of their lives. At that point, Joe Biden was just an ex-vice president of the United States, and he could expect, along with Mike Pence, if he doesn't become president, and he won't, Secret Service protection for 6 months. And then that's it. And then you're on your own.
This is also evidence. This is the idea that, shit, man. I knew Greg would boil down the right-wing argument about this shit better than anyone. Like, he would, if there was a fine detail around this that would shock all of us and make us rethink our feelings towards Biden as a president, Greg would find it.
And he never, ever once, while he worked in government, had declassification authority. No, but he had access to classified documents, the right to have them, read them. None of those, by the way, are skiff removed. Insofar as we know, we'll find out what's in them, or at least a general picture of what's in them. But the interesting thing is, there never had to be an affidavit for a search warrant explaining why the shit is so important. So we don't know what some of those things are, even though they had to do with UK, they had to do with Ukraine or Afghanistan or North Korea, whatever the fuck. In general, but that could have been the fucking menu on the flight when he was going on airports too. That still, qualifies as those kind of classified documents. But his access to them, or his ability to read and have them, never went away because Trump was going to remove Obama and Biden's top secret classification, and he chickened out. Biden did that to Trump, though. It's just not there.
And he didn't have to declassify. By the way, Trump never declassified that shit. He keeps going back to that. But again, the red envelope sinks that whole fucking boat. It's just dumb.
And what about Hunter Biden? If there's a Biden...
Oh, my God. He's smoking in bed. Stop it. Why do you have to put that up? It's just filth. Does he not realize, A, it's a fire hazard, and B, it's an extra $500 on your hotel bill. You can't smoke. They have already run it on your credit card. You can't smoking in bed.
Scandal, Hunter must be involved, and this...
He's got to be.
One, too, yes. So who owns Joe Biden's house where these secret documents were found? Is it Joe Biden's? I'm not sure. I've never actually...
But hey, he doesn't know. But that shouldn't stop us from drawing the most drastic conclusions we can.
I've seen the deed. I've never seen the mortgage, but I have seen this, and you will too. Hunter Biden filled out a background check to buy a gun, and he claimed that he owned this house. And He just might. He just might. From the laptop, we know that their finances were intertwined. Hunter complained about all the stuff that he had to buy for Joe Biden. And oh, by the way,
there is no laptop, by the way.
He was getting notices about all the bills.
By the way, notice all the metadata in this shot? I know. You're saying, how? That's a picture of a picture of a printout of a blown up graphic of. Is that how it was written? To Hunter Biden? Is that what his email? Who? That guy must have been rich, because only rich people can have an email address that's just your name in quotes. Fuck. It must be some sort of Chinese technology he was in bed with. You know what I'm saying?
Bills that had to be paid at his father's house, quote unquote. Take a look at this. And keep in mind, this is when the father was vice president. All these repairmen coming by, fixing things.
Oh, my God. The garage, no, not the garage. The garage, no, not the garage, not the garage, the retain. Didn't they fix, they had to be something to fix in the fucking garage.
What about when he's an ex-vice president of the United States? Anybody had access to the house. It wasn't a big deal. It's not like going to the White House. You don't have to go through Secret Service checkpoints. You just go there.
Yeah, I didn't know if you know that. I mean, obviously, Greg Kelly, if he tried to go to Mike Pence's house, would run into some trouble. But
and maybe you see the documents. I don't know.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's how you do it. I mean, it was like it's like Graceland for bullshitters. You just go down there. You know, Joe tells you a story that right out of the George Santos playbook, and then he shows you some documents. And then you give him $1,239 and he uses it to fix the AC.
No, I don't know.
You're right. You don't know. You do not know.
To where we started.
By the way, can I just remind everyone before we continue in the rest of this, because he's going to loop back. This will go ultimately nowhere. This will fall flat, and we will be watching angry videos of Greg Kelly and others going, is there no justice that can come after the president? They can raid Mar-a-Lago, but Joe Biden has clearly in the garage. And then they find that he's like less than what Hillary Clinton got. Blah, blah, blah. Like, we're all seeing that shit. It's the same bullshit tee up.
He's finished. This story may actually diminish in the next.
Uh-oh. Greg is starting to grow as a man. Man's got to know his own limitations.
Couple of weeks, but that doesn't mean it goes away. And
no, it never goes away. It won't ever. Not like the white supremacy hand signal. It will never go away. Sorry.
That doesn't mean that Democrats are taking a good look and saying, why are we defending this guy?
There he is. There he's doing it again. Do I have a fucking pencil? That shit again. Understand, this is Greg Kelly telling Democrats, yourself and myself in general, what we think. So far, he's doing very well.
And look at the lies, okay? If I know this, they know this, okay? Everybody knows this. He can't stop lying about anything. Everything is dishonest. Everything about him, his whole career.
The number of trips to China, number of meetings with Xi, drunk driver killed family, shot at overseas. Oh, is it the idea that the driver wasn't drunk, or they took it as meaning it was drunk, or when he was talking about drunk drivers killing people, he talked about his family being killed in a car accident, and people went, oh, it correlated the two.
And I mentioned earlier,
one international moot court competition graduated 3. Bo died in Iraq. Died because of stuff in Iraq. Never mind.
When I first found out about Joe Biden, we don't play this all the time, but I think we have to from time to time. Joe
Sorry, the lip licking is freaking me the fuck out now.
Biden, as a sitting United States senator running for the presidency, said this, and everything he said is not true.
In 1987, and he stepped down because of it.
What law school did you attend, and where did you place in that class? And the other question is, could you quickly, I think
I probably have a much higher IQ than you do, I suspect. I went to law school on a full academic scholarship, the only one in my class to have a full academic scholarship. In the first year in law school, I decided I didn't want to be in law school and ended up in the bottom 2/3 of my class, and then decided I wanted to stay, went back to law school, and in fact ended up in the top half of my class. I won the international moot court competition. I was the outstanding student in the political science department at the end of my year. I graduated with 3 degrees from undergraduate school and 165 credits, only need 123 credits, and I'd be delighted to sit down and compare my IQ to yours if you'd like, Frank.
And look at that face. Look at the smug face. Everything he just said was a lie. But you...
Well, no, it wasn't. Like, there's like 3 embellishments in there, and they caught up with him and he had to retract them. This is 1987. Yeah, we know. Asked and answered, fucko.
See that? How please.
Dude, and by the way, imagine this dude being, this is 1987. Imagine this dude being fucking this mad about Trump saying that Mexico was going to pay for the fucking wall the entire time he ran and then just blowing it the fuck off. What about getting us out of Afghanistan? At all. Much less well and beautifully and gracefully and honorably.
Pleased he is with himself. He wouldn't be for long back then.
I'm almost glad this clip exists simply so that we can watch Greg Kelly seethe.
The media, they weren't afraid like they are today.
Biden now concedes he did not graduate in the top half of his law school class, that he does not have 3 degrees from college, and that he was not named outstanding political science student in college.
Newsweek says Biden actually went to school on a half scholarship, ended up near the bottom of his class, and won only 1 degree, not 3.
Joe Biden ranked 76th in a class of 85 at the University of Syracuse Law School. I mean, this guy comes off this whole thing as a flyweight.
Now Biden says Newsweek is right. His memory had failed him.
How do you come back from that? How do you come back from that?
Years of service. One of the ways you do it is say, do something like craft the crime bill and the Violence Against Women Act. Because the way, and admitting it. And then when you do gainfully productive legislative achievements, then people start going, all right, maybe you learned your lesson and you're getting better at this. And then over time, you actually manage to make up for those things. And in your years of service, people decide that you're worth having around. Now, the reason Greg Kelly's mad is because Trump got caught lying so late in the game, there's no coming back.
Maybe you come back from that with some help from the Chinese and some...
Oh, fuck me. Really? We're going to get into this shit? Okay, hang on one second. Because I posted something earlier today, and I don't know if people saw it, but it's an important... It was from months ago, but an important article nonetheless. And I wrote this up. Hold on one second. This is the first one. You guys have heard me make this argument before, but the House GOP are still unable to articulate how Biden is compromised by China, in quotes. If Biden got billions from China, China got the AUKUS agreement, the CHIPS Act, the biggest exodus of U.S. factories from a country in history, and our support for Taiwan. Biden fucked China. They paid him for the beating. And then there was another piece that I pointed out because I was trying to, there were a bunch of people bringing this nonsense up, and I wanted to throw like I didn't want to reiterate the same points. And let me see if I can find this real quick. I know it's earlier. Hold on. I'm scrolling. Talk amongst yourselves. Let's see. Maybe it got stuck and didn't post. Maybe that's the idea. Anyways, sorry. I'll be able to find it. This one. How would you feel if you're China and you gave Hunter Biden $1 billion for influence against his dad, and then the guy gets in office and starts the most direct, consequential, and historic attacks on your manufactured CCP economy in world history. How does that work? Honest to God, at some point, all of these like Biden's controlled by China people, Glenn Beck, Greg, fucking Fox News, any of these assholes, have to answer the question. If he really got that money from China, oh my God, China got fucked in that deal. So what did Biden roll China? Because it looks like it. It looks like Biden is rolling China. He got him over a barrel. He tricked them. Because it's the biggest smokescreen in history. That's exactly right. I don't understand it. Because we saw that fucking Frank Gaffney piece with Dinesh yesterday, and that was the hardest, like, just beating of that dead horse I've seen in a long time. Jesus.
Cover from your boss, Barack Obama, who I actually believe is still running the show behind the scenes.
Well, then what difference does it make if he's running the show behind the scenes? He had declassification authority. Maybe he declassified that shit for Joe. Maybe he gave him a blanket pardon on the way out.
And he's still lying, of course, and the lies have gotten more egregious. If that's too ancient history for you, take a look at this. Hunter was married to Kathleen. The late Bo, great guy, by the way, was married to Haley. So Bo dies. What happens next? Hunter starts hooking up with Haley, his sister-in-law.
Right. This, by the way, this isn't a story about classified documents. I don't know when we get to the Harry and Meghan part of it, but I'm waiting patiently.
The widow of his dead brother.
Yes, we gather that from the dead brother part.
This is insane stuff. This is sordid, bad stuff.
Why?
This is the kind of thing, and look, families have stories, but this...
Do they? Do they really? Really? Tell us one of yours, Greg. Tell us the story about when you were accused of sexual assault. What was it? I mean, your dad and you sit down, you light up a cigar, your dad tells you to take your shoes off the coffee table, you start crying, then what?
This is the kind of thing that you say, you know what, we're not running for president with this kind of thing.
What? No, it isn't. How in the... What is... Yeah, you're right. You know what? Central Scrutinizer says in the chat, Hunter did smoke in a bathtub as well. So you're right. I would call the whole thing off. I mean, you're never going to win. And by the way, they kept this hidden until after he was oh, no, everyone knew? No one gave a shit? Great.
Hanging over our head, right?
No, it's not hanging over your head. Two people after the death of one hooking up. It doesn't matter. I don't care. If that's how it worked out, that's fucking life. What are you talking about?
It was devastating inside the Biden family. Kathleen.
They are inside the Biden family, dum-dum. That's his fucking brother. That's her fucking husband.
Hunter's wife, now ex-wife, she wrote about it in her memoir. Yes, this is her words. Take a look. She writes as...
Uh-oh. We're about to hear language about a breakup. Now, I don't know if these pages were hidden in the garage, under the Corvette, near the classified documents, but we'll find out.
Follows. If anything, I felt a strange vindication. This is when she found out. She suspected all along. Not only had I not been crazy, but it was so much worse than I could have imagined. How devastating that must have been.
And what, honest to God, first of all, bless her heart, but affairs and breakups and all that kind of stuff, they all read like that. All of them. Also, and go to the next paragraph. It was worse than I could have imagined. But eventually I would learn to forgive them as the father of my children, blah, 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 blah.
For her husband fooling around with the sister-in-law. It's a nightmare.
It is a nightmare. It's a nightmare. Like, Greg is basically jealous that apparently Hunter's getting a lot of ass. That seems to be the thing that's upsetting Greg Kelly the most.
But what does a guy like Joe Biden do with this? We just saw how easily lies come to him, how proud he is of himself.
Oh, it's disgusting. Then what does he do? What does he say about this? Something about he loves his son. Have you seen this picture of him with his kid where he's like kissing him and he's asking him to get his life together and telling him he loves him? It's disgusting. My dad would never do that.
What did the Bidens come out with after this came out? They put out a public statement. We are all lucky that Hunter and Haley found each other as they were putting their lives together again after such sadness. They have mine and Jill's full and complete support, and we are happy for them.
It's disgusting. Support, happiness. That's not how families work. You're supposed to call your dad. You're supposed to hold the phone away from your head because he screams loser so loud you might go deaf, and then you throw it in the toilet and cry.
Now, fortunately, this is a lie. Can you imagine if they were really happy for them? But it is a lie. They will.
What? The Biden family has a messy history. Unlike, hold on. The Kelly family has a messy history. It's just terrible how the Kelly family has a messy history. And then, oh wait, hold on one second. They have to say TV's Greg Kelly because there's another Greg Kelly that was assaulting children. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, this is the. I mean, it's a messy history. That's all I can say. I don't know. It's just kind of, you know what I mean? And now, let's see. What do we say? Okay. Greg Kelly. Let's see if it's maybe over here. Greg Kelly Wikipedia. Okay. Let's see. Background presently. 2017. Greg Kelly is married. Where is it? Yeah, born Gregory Raymond Kelly. Okay. Judith Gray Kelly. They married in 2017, and no kids. It seems. Yeah. He was an aviator, a Harrier jump jet pilot, as a Marine attack on 211. Good for him. Yeah, here it is. This is his personal life Wikipedia. It's very small, but whatever. Kelly is married to Judith Gray, a creative director in advertising. They were married on November 12th, 2017 at New York's University Club. That's nice. Next chapter. In February 2012, Kelly was investigated by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office upon accusations of rape. Kelly was never arrested nor charged with a crime. After investigation, the district attorney issued a letter stating that the UN, under New York state criminal law, the incident did not constitute a crime. Kelly returned to work February 13th, 2012. Well, that's nice. So it was this was the. They just decided to move on from that? How's that work? The official. No rape charges for Greg Kelly. Well, good for you. Look at that. Oh, I don't want that. No, thank you. I can move out. Please. I mean, it's better than looking at his face, but for fuck's sake. No charges will be filed against morning television host Greg Kelly, the son of New York City Police Commissioner Ray Kelly, in connection with a woman's allegation that he raped her after a night of drinking, according to a letter from prosecutors. Well, it's, again, I'm sure it has nothing to do with his dad being the police commissioner at all.
Will do anything for power.
Or to support their kids. Which obviously you've not experienced with your dad, except in one particular instance, perhaps.
This was the time to retire.
Yes, he should have quit while he was not president yet.
And he didn't. And he did it.
Oh, it's terrible.
And yet they say that Donald Trump is the liar. Right? 30,573. Hey, anytime you see one of those lists, you got to remember this situation. Who remembers when there was a government shutdown and I think Clemson football team won the championship or whatever? They had no White House chefs, so Trump sends them out to go buy a bunch of hamburgers. And it was a pretty cool moment, actually.
No, you could smell the fucking photo. It was gross.
Here's the president talking to the football players in the East Room of the White House.
And I said, you guys aren't into salads. Or do I go out, Lindsey Graham and Tim Scott, do I go out and send out for about 1,000 hamburgers, Big Macs? So we actually did. We bought 1,000 Burger King, All American companies. We literally have, and I don't know, have they started eating and devouring, having? I wanted to see, so it was piled up a mile high.
Jesus Christ. Okay, first of all, obviously a lie. It was not piled up a mile high, and I don't understand how this guy, always lying, and how does he even live with himself? It's over. He should have quit then. He could have just stepped down. A mile of burgers. This guy's clearly losing it.
Mile high. All those hamburgers. Great moment, right?
Yeah, but a material lie, if that's what you're talking about. And also, not a great moment. Fucking disappointing. Weird and stupid.
Lots of hamburgers for everybody. Look at
lots of hamburgers for everybody, because there are no hamburger restaurants local in the Washington fucking D.C. area where you could send out for them that wasn't a fucking chain. Literally, you know why Trump ultimately did that, right? Because Biden got all this credit for going to Five Guys. Obama did. Obama kept going to Five Guys. Remember that? And it was kind of a cool, hip thing that he went to Five Guys and that they liked getting it. And it was one of the things when they would get a burger, they would, he would sometimes walk down there and it was just a surprise. And Biden went in there and sometimes they would send out for it. If they wanted to eat something that was, a little more just kind of off the rack, they would go to Five Guys. There's a huge drop off between Five Guys, even as a chain, and a fucking Big Mac, which is like toilet paper.
Look at what the fake news did. Look at this. President Trump's extravagant $3,000 300 sandwich celebration of Clemson University. According to our count, Trump spent about $2,911 on feeding the team. This includes 319 sandwiches, 177 of which were hamburgers, and, fact check, at 2 inches each, 1,000 burgers would not reach 1 mile high. These are the kinds of things that found their way onto that silly list. Rolling Stone had a big write-up, Donald Trump and his lies about the volume of fast food hamburgers. Meanwhile, we have probably the worst liar in the history of the world in Joe Biden.
That's his comeback. That was the one. That was his cherry pick. That was his That's his picking strawberries right now.
And he gets away with it until today, actually. Until today.
What happened?
It's over.
What happened today?
It's over.
I'm sorry. Oh, you meant your whole segment because you think he's done. I have news for you. He's this. Let's see. When was this posted? 18 hours ago. Yeah. So Biden was president again today.
He was still snowing a good chunk of the country. He can't anymore.
No, we're all torn apart about it. This morning I could barely eat my Weetabix.
Those who have been protecting him, that's over.
Yeah, I've given up on it. I'm you know what? There is a Hunter Biden laptop. Fuck it. I'm just going to be a believer now. That's, you talk me into it, Greg.
Gone. It's not going to happen. And the press, you know what?
They're being okay about it because they're trying to fight back against the imbalanced charges by the right wing about them.
They're starting to feel aggressive, not because they're brave, but because they've been authorized. But check this out.
Wait a minute. So, all right, wait. Biden, according to Greg Kelly, there's a lot because they've been authorized. We get into deep state territory with this. This is good. So the idea is, I guess Obama, who really runs things, but let's just play with it for a second, that Biden, in the discovery of these documents and the returning of them to NARA and going through all this stuff, has authorized MSNBC and CNN to go after him because he's playing Spock chess and it's eventually going to work out okay, and he knows it'll just make Trump look worse and it'll bait dickheads like this into no? All right. What? Why have they been authorized?
I'm confident. Thank you very much.
That was intense. And they're all...
Yeah, I don't know. He ran away. It's amazing. He was all sweaty and mad and... Oh, no, he just walked off? Okay.
pretty much talking about the same thing. They want to know more. This image gave me a case of deja vu. In the final days of the Nixon administration, it was a very similar kind of atmosphere and scene. So there's a...
Yeah, and at no time during the Trump administration was there anything like that.
A special counsel that they just picked, William Hur, he's going to be looking into Joe Biden, although Devin Nunes, who will be joining us in a little bit, seems to think he might be compromised.
Oh, well, by the way, how do you know he's compromised? You can tell right away. There's some key details, and it's not his race. I mean, obviously, people would jump on that and think that that's the reason. The reason he's compromised is because both Greg and Devin Nunes know that this is a bag full of farts, and it's never going to amount to anything. And so they got to prep themselves that there was something there, but it's that guy.
Meantime, very prominent Democrats. Remember, Joe Biden wasn't exactly everybody's pick initially.
I called it.
These people want to be president, and they want to be bad. You think they're going to sit...
They want to be dirty presidents.
Back right now? And what about this person? Michelle.
Yeah, okay. So Michelle Obama has, planted classified documents at Biden's house, and now she's just circling like a fucking shark because that's her nature. Jesus Christ.
It's been about her all along. This, I do believe, is the grand plan. And it's about to take off.
That's right. Here it comes. Get ready for it. Greg is, and by the way, this is just letting you know that Greg is planning his attacks on Michelle Obama now.
But we'll see about that. I'll be right back.
I'm convinced. Christ almighty. Now, obviously, hi, you're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. Thanks for being here. Yes, poor Greg is off his meds, clearly.